welcome to another episode of Broadcast Music Talk, and another episode of The Very Best Of. On this episode, rather than talking about a band, this episode will be an expansion on a previous one, which is the one where I talked about Tool. This is because, after waiting for 13 years, their new album is out, and I have to talk about it. Now, I don't usually go into background information on a single album, but this one is interesting enough that I'm going to. So, I'm going to be talking about Tool's 2019 fifth studio album titled Fear Inoculum. After the release and heavy touring for their fourth studio album, 10,000 Days, vocalist Maynard James Keenan said that he saw the band breaking up in the near future and chose to focus on his side band, Pucifer. But in 2008, at the 50th Grammy Awards, Keenan announced that Tool would begin writing material for a fifth studio album right away. After that, the band was basically silent for the next few years. Only on Tool's website had they made announcements that Adam Jones, Justin Chancellor, and Danny Carey were working on instrumental material, while Keenan focused his efforts on Pucifer. And this is consistent with the approach that the band had done in the past, with Keenan waiting to write vocals and lyrics until the instrumentals were totally complete. In 2012, the website updated, stating that they heard instrumental material that sounded like Tool, some that sounded like their earlier stuff, and other parts pushing the envelope, and estimated that the album was around half done. Progress on this album was slow due to outside problems like 2 scooter accidents that injured 2 members and eliminated 9 days of planned jamming. Add to that, in 2014, Jones and Carey had to deal with complicated legal issues stemming from a 2007 lawsuit that had also slowed progress on the album as well. The lawsuit was over a friend that wanted credit for artwork that the band used, but it escalated when an insurance company sued the band over technicalities, which led to the band countersuing and so on. So that plus other life obligations limited the band's time for working on their new album, and also drained the band's members' motivations to be creative and write music. Around this time, Carey said that only one song was at the point of being pretty much done, which was an untitled 10-minute long track. Finally, in 2015, Jones announced that the legal issues were completely over. Throughout 2015, progress on the album continued, but slowly. Jones said that the band had 20 different song ideas being developed, with the band doing some touring, and debuted a new track titled Descending, but in a shortened and incomplete form. He also said that the instrumentals were done and passed to Keenan, who hesitated to work on anything because he thought the instrumentals were far from done. By the end of 2016, Chancellor described the band's status as still deep in the writing process, and that while main themes and a loose skeleton had been established, Jones, Carey, and himself were carefully creating and reworking new instrumental content. In 2017, Carey predicted finishing and releasing the new album in mid-2018, but Keenan countered these claims and said that it would likely take longer than that to finish. While Jones, Carey, and Chancellor continued to work on the album, and Keenan returned to A Perfect Circle in late 2018 to record and release their fourth album in early 2018. By February 2018, Keenan said that he had received rough music files from the rest of the band members containing instrumentals labeled final for all but one track on the album on the prior few months, and had started writing lyrics and vocal melodies. On March 10, 2018, Tool entered a major recording studio to start sessions with producer Joe Barasai. On May 11th, was said that all the drum parts had been tracked. In September, Keenan said that he finished recording the scratch vocals but not started the final takes. However, in January 2019, Keenan said that he had finished his final vocal recording sessions months ago, and that the album would still likely require lengthy mixing sessions, and in that same month, Carey said they would aim for an April 2019 release. but Keenan again countered this and said it was unrealistic and pointed to a release between May and July 2019. It was reported in March 2019 that Jones had been working on the album artwork, which is one of the last steps of the process, and finally, on August 30th, 2019, the album finally released. So now that that's out of the way, it's time I tell you what tracks I liked from this album. The songs that I liked from this album are Track 1, Fear Inoculum, Track 2, Pneuma, Track 3, Invincible, Track 4, Descending, Track 5, Calling Voices, and Track 7, Tempest, with a 7 instead of a T. And that's going to wrap up this little expansion on the very best of Tool with their new album, Fear Inoculum. That's all I have to say, so if you're out of the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening and goodbye.